The smell hit Claire first. Sharp, chemical, wrong. She was 7 months pregnant, standing at her sister-in-law's wedding reception when she felt liquid splash down her back. Before she could turn around, a voice whispered, "This is for stealing what's mine." Then came the match, the fire, the screams. In the 3 seconds it took Claire to dive into the pool, her entire life changed forever. Because the woman holding the lighter was her husband's colleague. The woman her husband swore was just a friend. The woman Claire's instincts had warned her about for 18 months. But the fire was only the beginning. What Claire would discover in the hospital, about her marriage, her pregnancy, and the man she thought she knew, was so much worse than the burns on her skin. This is a story about survival, about betrayal, about a woman who lost everything and built something better from the ashes. This is Claire's story, and trust me, you need to hear how it ends. The smell hit Claire first. Sharp, chemical, wrong. She turned too late. The liquid was already soaking through her silk dress, the pale blue fabric darkening in irregular patches down her back and sides. Claire's hand moved automatically to her belly, 7 months pregnant and prominent beneath the empire waist of the bridesmaid dress Jennifer had chosen for the wedding party. This is for stealing what's mine. Vanessa Hayes stood 3 feet away, her face twisted into something Claire had never seen on another human being. Pure hatred, the kind that burned hotter than anything physical could. Claire knew Vanessa, Ryan's colleague from the finance department, the woman who laughed too loud at his jokes during company events, the one who touched his arm too casually, too often. The match flickered to life between Vanessa's fingers. Time became elastic, stretching like taffy. Claire saw the small flame dance in the evening air. She heard the string quartet still playing inside the reception hall. She felt the August heat on her skin and the baby pressing against her ribs and the wetness of gasoline soaking into her dress. The flame touched fabric. Fire erupted across Claire's body. Sound exploded around her. Screams, multiple voices, high and terrified. The roar of flames, her own voice joining the chorus, wordless and primal. 3 steps. Claire's mind calculated through pure survival instinct. 3 steps to the pool. Her legs moved. The fire climbed her dress, heat searing the skin on her back and legs. Each step felt like running through concrete. 1. The baby. Only the baby matters. 2. Water ahead, safety ahead. 3. Claire dove. The world went silent underwater, muffled chaos above her. Claire's body curled instinctively around her belly, protective even as her lungs screamed for air. The cool water shocked her burned skin, pain and relief mixing into something beyond description. She had to surface, had to breathe. Claire kicked upward, breaking through into pandemonium. Arms reached for her, voices shouted her name. Someone wrapped a tablecloth around her shoulders. The smell of burned silk and gasoline clung to her hair. "The baby," Claire gasped. "My baby." "Ambulance is coming," a voice said. Bridget, her best friend and the wedding photographer. "Claire, stay still. You're okay. You're going to be okay." But Claire couldn't stay still. Her hands moved across her belly, checking, feeling for movement. The baby kicked, strong, angry at the disruption. Thank God, thank God. Through the crowd, Claire saw him. Ryan, her husband, standing frozen near the bar where she'd left him 10 minutes ago. His face was white, mouth open in shock. He wasn't moving toward her, wasn't running to help. He was staring at Vanessa. The mistress stood motionless, lighter still in her hand, as security guards closed in around her. She was crying. Mascara streaked down her cheeks in black rivers. "I love him," Vanessa screamed. "I love him, and she took him from me." The guards grabbed her arms. Vanessa fought, still screaming. "Ryan, tell them we're supposed to be together." Claire's eyes found Ryan's across the crowd. He looked away. Emma appeared at Claire's side. Her younger sister, still in her maid of honor dress, knelt in the pool water without hesitation. I've got you, Claire." The EMTs arrived with a stretcher. Efficient hands examined Claire, checking vitals, asking questions she could barely process. Yes, 7 months pregnant. No allergies. Yes, she could feel the baby moving. They lifted her onto the stretcher. Claire caught a glimpse of the upstairs balcony as they wheeled her toward the ambulance. Robert Mitchell stood there, Ryan's father, his hands gripping the railing. The billionaire real estate mogul who'd built an empire through calculated decisions looked stricken. He'd seen everything. Claire's vision blurred. Shock setting in, the EMT said. Normal response to trauma. They were moving her into the ambulance. Someone was holding her hand. Emma crying silently, her grip fierce. Where's Ryan? Claire whispered. Emma's face hardened. Don't worry about him right now. But Claire turned her head, looking back through the ambulance doors at the wedding reception dissolving into chaos. Police cars arriving, guests clustered in horrified groups, Jennifer, the actual bride, sobbing in her wedding dress, and Ryan finally moving, but not toward the ambulance. He was walking toward Vanessa as the police pushed her into their car, arguing with the officers, gesturing frantically. The ambulance door closed, cutting off Claire's view. Ma'am, I need you to focus on me, the EMT said. His name tag read Marcus. Different Marcus than Emma's husband, but the familiar name grounded her. Can you tell me where you're feeling pain? Everywhere, Claire whispered. But the baby, is the baby okay? Marcus placed a fetal monitor on her belly, and the rapid thump, thump, thump of her daughter's heartbeat filled the small space. Strong heartbeat, Marcus said, smiling. Your baby is a fighter, just like her mom. Claire closed her eyes, tears finally coming. The adrenaline was wearing off, replaced by pain that radiated from her back and legs. Second-degree burns, Marcus was saying. Maybe third in some places. They'd know more at the hospital. The baby kicked again, harder this time, angry, scared, alive. We're okay, Claire whispered to her daughter. We're going to be okay. But even as she said it, doubt crept in, because the image was burned into her mind more permanently than the fire on her skin. Ryan, her husband of 3 years, the father of her child, hadn't followed the ambulance. He was arguing with Vanessa. The emergency room was too bright. Fluorescent lights made everything clinical and cold. Claire lay on her side while nurses cleaned her burns, each touch sending fresh waves of pain through her body. On a scale of 1 to 10, a nurse asked. 8, Claire said, though it felt like 100. Emma stood against the wall, arms crossed, still in her soaked maid of honor dress. She'd refused to leave for dry clothes. Her mascara had run, and her hair had dried in strange waves from the pool water, but her eyes were clear and furious. Where is he? Emma asked for the 4th time. Claire didn't answer. She was counting, contractions, the cramping in her abdomen that came in waves, regular and terrifying. The doctor, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and efficient hands, pressed the fetal monitor against Claire's belly again. Baby's heart rate is good, she said, but you're having contractions, regular ones. We need to stop this labor before it progresses. It's too early, Claire whispered. I know. We're going to give you medications, magnesium sulfate to slow the contractions. You'll feel warm, maybe a little fuzzy, but it should work. Should, not will. Should. The IV went in. Claire watched the clear liquid drip into her veins, willing it to work, willing her body to calm down, willing her daughter to stay safe and stayed where she belonged for 8 more weeks. Claire, Ryan's voice came from the doorway. He looked disheveled, his tuxedo jacket gone, his white shirt untucked. His hair stood up in places, like he'd been running his hands through it. Emma moved to block him. You need to leave. She's my wife, Ryan said. She's my sister, and you weren't there. Ryan's face flushed. I was in shock. Someone just tried to murder Claire. You were with her, Emma said. The accusation hung in the air like smoke. With Vanessa. We all saw you. I was trying to understand what happened, Ryan said. Why she would... Get out, Claire said. Everyone turned to look at her. She was staring at the ceiling, her voice calm, which somehow made it worse. Claire, please, Ryan started. Were you with her? Claire said. Not a question, a statement. Before tonight, were you with Vanessa? The pause lasted 3 seconds too long. It's not what you think, Ryan said. Emma made a sound like a wounded animal. Are you serious right now? Claire is lying here with burns all over her body, pregnant with your baby, and you're going to... I need to hear it from him, Claire said. She finally turned her head to look at her husband. Tell me the truth, Ryan. Is Vanessa your colleague or something else? Ryan's mouth opened, closed, opened again. She's a colleague who developed feelings I didn't encourage. She became obsessed, and I tried to let her down gently, but she's clearly unstable. Did you sleep with her? Emma asked. Emma, Ryan said. Answer her, Claire said. There was a brief thing. Months ago, before we knew about the baby, I ended it. I told her it was a mistake. She wouldn't accept it. Claire's hand moved to her belly. The baby kicked, oblivious to the destruction happening around her. How many months ago? Claire whispered. Ryan looked at the floor. It doesn't matter now. How many? Claire said louder. Claire, you're in shock. You need to rest. We can talk about this later. Answer the question, Ryan. Robert Mitchell's voice came from behind him. Ryan turned. His father stood in the doorway, still in his custom tuxedo, looking every inch the billionaire who'd built an empire. But his face was granite, cold, assessing. Dad, this isn't the time. Someone tried to murder your wife and child, Robert said, in front of 100 witnesses, at your sister's wedding. And instead of getting in the ambulance with Claire, you were talking to the woman who did it. So yes, son, this is exactly the time. Answer her question. Ryan's face went from red to white. It was ongoing for a while. The words hit Claire like physical blows. Ongoing. A while. Not a brief mistake. Not a momentary weakness. Ongoing. How long is a while? Emma said. Ryan's phone buzzed in his pocket. Once, twice, 10 times in rapid succession. Is that her? Claire asked. Is Vanessa calling you from jail? Ryan pulled out his phone, glanced at it, and put it on silent. I need my lawyer, he said. Robert's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes. Douglas is already on his way, but he's coming for Claire, not you. If you need legal representation, you'll arrange your own. Dad, get out of this room, Robert said. Security will escort you. You can wait in the lobby, but you are not to approach Claire again tonight without permission. I have a right to be here, Ryan said. She's my wife. She's also the victim of an attempted murder, Robert said, and the police want to speak with you. Extensively. 2 hospital security guards appeared behind Robert. They didn't touch Ryan, but their presence made their purpose clear. Ryan looked at Claire. She looked away. Fine, he said, but this conversation isn't over, Claire. We need to talk. Really talk. When you're thinking clearly. When you're thinking clearly, as if Claire's perception of reality was the problem. As if she was the one who needed to reconsider the facts. Ryan left. The security guards followed. Emma locked the door behind them. Robert approached Claire's bed slowly, like she might spook. How are you feeling? Like someone set me on fire, Claire said. Then because hysteria was bubbling up, because someone did set me on fire. The police are here, Robert said. They want your statement, but it can wait if you need time. What did you see? Claire asked. From the balcony. What did you see? Robert pulled a chair close to her bed and sat. This man, who commanded boardrooms and built skyscrapers, sat down so he could look at her at eye level. I saw a woman approach you from behind, he said. I saw her pour something on your dress. I saw her light a match. I saw you run into the pool. I saw Ryan standing 50 feet away, doing nothing. He was in shock, Claire said automatically, defending him, even now. He was calculating, Robert said. I've spent 63 years reading people, Claire. Shock looks different than calculation. Ryan was weighing his options. The door opened. A detective entered, followed by a uniformed officer. The detective was a woman in her 40s, with short gray hair and tired eyes that had seen too much. Mrs. Mitchell, she said, I'm Detective Sarah Walsh. I know this is difficult, but I need to ask you some questions. Claire nodded. Do you know Vanessa Hayes? Yes, she works with my husband. Have you ever felt threatened by her before tonight? Claire thought about the company holiday party. Vanessa's hand on Ryan's arm, the way she looked at Claire, territorial, possessive. I thought she was too friendly with Ryan, Claire said, but I never imagined she'd this. Had your husband mentioned any problems with Ms. Hayes? Unwanted attention? Harassment? No, Claire said, then quieter. He said there was nothing to worry about. Detective Walsh wrote something in her notebook. Ms. Hayes has been arrested for attempted murder. She's admitted to the attack. She claims she was emotionally distraught over your husband ending their relationship. The words felt surreal. Their relationship. As if it was legitimate. As if it was something that could be ended rather than something that should never have existed. How long was the relationship? Claire asked. Ms. Hayes claims it was 18 months, Detective Walsh said. Can you confirm that? 18 months. Claire's pregnancy was 7 months along. 18 minus 7 was 11. Ryan got her pregnant while actively sleeping with Vanessa. Mrs. Mitchell, Detective Walsh said. I need to throw up, Claire whispered. Emma grabbed a basin just in time. Claire retched, her body trying to expel the poison of knowledge. But it was already inside her, in her mind, in her memories, corrupting everything. When she finished, Emma wiped her face gently with a cool cloth. We can continue this tomorrow, Detective Walsh said. But I do need to know, did you have any indication that your husband was having an affair? Claire laughed. It sounded broken even to her own ears. I'm pregnant. I've been tired and sick and worried about becoming a mother. I trusted him. I believed him when he said late nights were work. I believed him when he said I was being paranoid. I believed him. She was crying now, tears mixing with the water on her face from the cloth. I believed every lie. The hospital room was dark except for the machines monitoring Claire's vital signs and the baby's heartbeat. Emma slept in the uncomfortable chair by the window, her breathing soft and even. Claire couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt the fire, smelled the gasoline, heard Vanessa screaming about love. The baby kicked. Regular movements now, reassuring. The contractions had stopped 3 hours ago. The medications were working. Her daughter was safe. For now, a nurse came in at 2 in the morning to check vitals. Claire pretended to be asleep. She didn't want to talk, didn't want to explain how she felt, didn't want to hear empty platitudes about how everything would be okay. Because everything wouldn't be okay. Her husband had been sleeping with another woman for 18 months, had gotten Claire pregnant while maintaining that affair, had known his mistress was unstable and brought her to a family wedding anyway, had stood frozen while Claire burned. The antiseptic smell of the hospital triggered something. A memory, sharp and sudden. 6 months ago, Claire was 4 months pregnant, morning sickness finally easing. Ryan had come home at midnight, claiming a late meeting with clients. He'd gone straight to the shower. When Claire hugged him afterward, she'd smelled perfume. Sweet. Floral. Wrong. Did you hug a client? She'd asked, trying to sound casual. What? No, why by. You smell like perfume. Ryan had stiffened, then laughed. Claire, you're paranoid. I took the subway home. Probably some woman standing too close. Maybe I'm just sensitive because of the pregnancy, Claire had said. The hormones make me crazy sometimes. That's probably it, Ryan had said. He'd kissed her forehead. You need to relax. Stress isn't good for the baby. Stress isn't good for the baby. He'd said it so often those months. Anytime Claire questioned something, anytime her intuition screamed that something was wrong, he'd weaponized her love for their daughter against her. Claire's phone buzzed on the bedside table. A text from Bridget. I saved all the photos, evidence. Video too. Police have copies, but I have originals. Call when you're ready. Another buzz. This time from a number Claire didn't recognize. Mrs. Mitchell, this is Douglas Harper. Robert Mitchell has retained me as your attorney. I'll be by the hospital at 8 a.m. and with some documents you need to see. Best regards. Claire stared at the message. Your attorney. Not Ryan's, not the family's. Hers. Her phone buzzed again. Ryan. Claire, please. I know you're angry. I know I messed up, but we can fix this. We can go to counseling. We love you. I love our baby. Please just talk to me. She deleted the message without responding. Another memory surfaced, triggered by the sound of her phone vibrating. 4 months ago. Claire was at the company holiday party, 5 months pregnant, wearing a dress that made her feel beautiful despite the baby bump. Ryan was networking as always. Claire had gone to the bathroom. When she came back, Vanessa was touching Ryan's arm. Her hand rested on his bicep. Familiar. intimate. Ryan was smiling, not pulling away. Claire had approached. Vanessa had dropped her hand, but not quickly enough. "Claire," Ryan had said, too loud. "There you are. Vanessa was just telling me about the Henderson account." "At a party?" Claire had said. "Work never stops," Vanessa had said, smiling. Her teeth were very white. "You're so lucky, Claire. Ryan talks about you all the time." The lie had been smooth, practiced. Claire had felt the instinctive wrongness of the moment. The way Vanessa looked at Ryan. The way Ryan's smile hadn't quite reached his eyes. "Don't be jealous," Ryan had said later in the cab home. "Vanessa is just friendly. That's how she is with everyone." "She was touching you," Claire had said. "She's Italian," Ryan had said. "They're more physical. You were reading too much into it." And Claire had let it go, because she was pregnant and tired and didn't want to be the paranoid wife, because Ryan had made her feel silly for noticing. She'd ignored her instincts, dismissed the red flags, chosen to believe the comfortable lie over the uncomfortable truth. The door to her hospital room opened. Claire tensed, expecting a nurse. Douglas Harper entered instead. He was younger than Claire expected, maybe late 40s, with graying hair and the kind face of someone who'd seen humanity at its worst and still chose compassion. "I'm sorry for the early hour," he said quietly, glancing at Emma still asleep. "But what I need to show you can't wait." He pulled a chair close to Claire's bed and opened his laptop. "Robert hired a forensic accountant this evening," Douglas said. "He wanted to understand the full scope of the situation before we proceed with any legal action." "Legal action?" Claire's voice was hoarse. "Divorce, most likely," Douglas said, "given the circumstances. But what we found goes beyond infidelity." He turned the laptop screen toward her. "Bank statements, credit card bills, highlighted charges. Ryan has a second apartment," Douglas said. "He's been paying rent on it for 18 months. Monthly charges to a building in Tribeca." Tribeca, expensive. The kind of place young professionals dreamed of living. "He told me we couldn't afford to move out of Queens," Claire said. "Said we needed to save for the baby." Douglas nodded. "He's also made significant purchases. Jewelry. Multiple pieces from Tiffany's. Hotel rooms. Restaurant charges at high-end locations. All while you were pregnant." Claire's hands found her belly automatically. The baby kicked. "How much?" she whispered. "Approximately $80,000 over 18 months, Douglas said. "All while telling you the budget was tight." $80,000, while Claire had stopped buying coffee out to save money, while she'd convinced herself they couldn't afford a baby nurse after the birth, while she'd worried about childcare costs. "There's more," Douglas said gently. The accountant accessed Ryan's emails through the company server. "Robert owns the company, so it's legal. I need to warn you, Claire. What you're about to read will hurt." "More than someone setting me on fire?" Claire said. "More than finding out my husband has been lying for 18 months? Douglas handed her the laptop. An email was open on the screen. From Ryan Mitchell to Vanessa Hayes. Date, 3 months ago. Subject, re-us, v. I know this is hard, but you knew the situation from the beginning. Claire is pregnant with my father's first grandchild. The timing is complicated. Give me 6 months after the baby is born to figure things out. We can't be together openly right now, but that doesn't change how I feel. Just be patient. Claire read it 3 times. Each word was a fresh cut. Figure things out meant divorce. Can't be together openly meant hiding. My father's first grandchild meant obligation. She hadn't been a wife. She'd been an obligation. A temporary inconvenience. There are more, Douglas said. Dozens, love emails, planning emails, some from as recently as 3 days ago. Claire's hands were shaking. She unconsciously twisted her wedding ring, around and around her finger, a nervous habit from childhood manifesting now. What did the email from 3 days ago say? She asked. Douglas hesitated. Are you sure you want to know? Tell me. He clicked to another email. From Ryan Mitchell to Vanessa Hayes. Date 4 days before the wedding. Subject. Reform. This weekend, V. I know you're upset about not being my +1 to Jennifer's wedding, but Claire will be there, obviously. My whole family will be there. Just give it a few more months. After the baby comes and things settle, I'll tell Claire I want out. We can finally be together properly. I promise it'll be worth the wait. Or a few more months after the baby comes. Tell Claire I want out. The plan had been set. The timeline established. Claire was supposed to give birth to his child, cement his position in his father's company, and then be discarded. Emma stirred in the chair, waking to find Claire staring at the laptop with tears streaming down her face. Claire, what's wrong? Is the baby? He never wanted us, Claire said. Her voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. Ryan never wanted this baby or me. We were just steps in his plan. Emma was at her side immediately, reading over her shoulder. Her face went white, then red with rage. I'm going to kill him, she said. Claire, I swear to God. He was going to leave me, Claire said, after the baby. He had it all planned out. Douglas closed the laptop gently. I'm sorry you had to see that, but you need to know what you're dealing with. Ryan isn't just a cheating husband. He's manipulative, calculating, and based on Vanessa's behavior, potentially dangerous. She tried to kill me because she loved him, Claire said. The absurdity of it hit her. She thought I was stealing him, but I never had him. He was never mine. The baby kicked hard, as if protesting. You have her, Emma said, hand on Claire's belly, and you have us, and now you know the truth. The truth. Every good memory was now tainted. Every I love you suspect, every kiss potentially preceded by kissing someone else. Claire thought about the day she told Ryan she was pregnant. They'd been trying for months. She'd taken the test alone, seen the positive result, and driven immediately to his office to tell him. He'd looked surprised, then pleased, but there'd been something else in his expression. Something she'd dismissed at the time. He'd hesitated, just for a moment, before the smile, before the hug. He'd needed time to calculate how this changed his plans. There's one more thing, Douglas said. Vanessa is claiming Ryan encouraged the attack. She says he told her repeatedly that if Claire was out of the picture, they could be together sooner. The prosecution is investigating whether Ryan was complicit in attempted murder. The room spun. Claire's monitors started beeping. A nurse rushed in. Her blood pressure is spiking, the nurse said. Everyone out, now. But, Emma started. Out, the nurse repeated firmly. She needs to calm down or we'll lose the baby. Emma and Douglas left. The nurse adjusted Claire's IV, added something that made her feel floaty. Breathe, the nurse said, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Your baby needs you calm. Claire breathed, focused on the physical act. Air in, air out. The baby's heartbeat on the monitor, steady and strong. She stared out the window as sunrise painted the sky. The city was waking up. People were starting their days, unaware that Claire's entire life had imploded. She'd been set on fire last night, but this morning reading those emails felt like the real burning, the real destruction, because the fire had hurt her body, but the truth destroyed her soul, or at least the version of herself who believed in love and marriage and happily ever after. That woman was gone, and Claire didn't know yet who would emerge from the ashes. Morning brought harsh light and harder truths. Claire had been moved to a private room. Robert's doing, Emma explained. Better security, more privacy. The hospital was already fielding calls from reporters who'd gotten wind of the story. Pregnant woman set on fire by husband's mistress at family wedding. It was the kind of headline that went viral. Douglas Harper returned at 8, as is promised. This time he brought Patricia Mitchell with him. Claire hadn't seen her mother-in-law since the wedding. Patricia stood in the doorway, perfectly dressed. Despite the early hour, her usual composure cracked. She looked older, somehow, diminished. May I come in? Patricia asked. Claire nodded. What else could she do? Patricia sat in the chair beside the bed, her hands folded in her lap. I owe you an apology. For what? For raising a man capable of this, Patricia said. Her voice was steady, but her eyes were wet. For not seeing what he'd become, for making excuses when I should have asked questions. Emma moved to stand protectively near Claire, but Patricia held up a hand. I'm not here to defend him, she said. Robert showed me the emails, the financial records, everything. And I realized I've been lying to myself about my son for years. Douglas cleared his throat. Mrs. Mitchell, if we could— No, Patricia said firmly. She needs to hear this first. Claire, Ryan has always been calculating. Even as a child, he'd figure out what people wanted to hear and say exactly that. I told myself it was intelligence, social skills, but it was manipulation. She reached into her purse and pulled out a small jewelry box. This was my grandmother's ring, Patricia said, opening it. Inside was a stunning emerald surrounded by diamonds. It's meant to be passed down to women who marry into the Mitchell family. I never gave it to you because I didn't think you'd last. I thought you were too soft for Ryan, too kind. Claire flinched. I was wrong, Patricia continued. Being soft doesn't mean being weak. Being kind doesn't mean being stupid. You're stronger than my son will ever be. This ring belongs to a woman of character. You've earned it. He didn't. She held out the box. Claire stared at it, unsure what to do. I don't want to be a Mitchell, she finally said. Then keep your maiden name, Patricia said, but take the ring. For your daughter. She's a Mitchell, whether we like it or not. Let her have something from this family that represents what we should be, not what Ryan is. Claire took the box. The weight of it felt significant, historical, a passing of something more than jewelry. Thank you, she whispered. Patricia nodded, then left quickly, like staying would undo her composure. Emma let out a long breath. Did that just happen? I need to show you the rest, Douglas said, opening his laptop again. It gets worse. How could it possibly get worse? Claire asked. Douglas pulled up another email. This was sent 3 weeks ago. From Ryan Mitchell to Vanessa Hayes. Date 3 weeks before wedding. Subject, I can't do this anymore. V, you're being dramatic again. Claire means nothing to me beyond obligation. The pregnancy was strategy, not emotion. My father expects an heir, and I delivered. Once the baby is born and I've secured my position in the company, I'll file for divorce. But you need to stop these jealous scenes. They're exhausting. If you really love me, you'll be patient. R. The pregnancy was strategy, not emotion. The words sat in Claire's mind like stones. Strategy, their baby, their daughter kicking and alive inside Claire's body, was strategy. I'm going to be sick again, Claire said. Emma grabbed the basin. Claire retched, but nothing came up, just dry heaves and bile. There's a pattern in these emails, Douglas said quietly. Ryan tells Vanessa whatever keeps her attached, promises they'll be together, claims Claire means nothing. But he's also manipulating her psychological state. He pulled up another email. From Ryan Mitchell to Vanessa Hayes. Date 1 month ago. Subject, I saw you with her, V. Your jealousy is getting out of control. I told you I have to maintain appearances. Touching Claire in public doesn't mean anything. You're the one I want. But if you can't trust me, maybe we should take a break. Think about whether you really want this relationship if it makes you this unstable. R. He's gaslighting her, Emma said, reading over Claire's shoulder. Holy shit. He's driving her crazy on purpose. That's what the prosecution thinks, Douglas said. Vanessa has a documented history of anxiety and depression. Ryan knew this, and he systematically manipulated her emotional state while making her believe Claire was the enemy. He weaponized her mental health against her, Claire said, and against me. Douglas nodded. Vanessa's lawyer is arguing she was manipulated into the attack. That Ryan's psychological abuse pushed her to break. She's not claiming innocence, but she's claiming Ryan shares culpability. Does she have proof? Emma asked. She recorded some of their conversations, Douglas said. Her lawyer released one to the police this morning. He pulled up an audio file. Are you sure you want to hear this? Claire wasn't sure, but she needed to know. Douglas hit play. Ryan's voice filled the room. Vivi, you need to calm down. I can't keep having this conversation. Vanessa's voice, tearful and desperate. You said after the baby you'd leave her, but you're acting like a happy husband. I saw the Instagram post. You called her your world. Ryan sighing. That's for my father, for the company image. You know that. None of it's real. Then why won't you tell her about us? Because the timing is wrong. My father just made me director of the East Coast Division. If I blow up my marriage now, I lose everything. You need to think long-term here. I'm tired of being a secret. Then maybe you should think about whether you're cut out for this. I needed someone strong, V, someone patient, not someone who falls apart every time things get hard. If you can't handle it, there are other women who could. Silence. Then Vanessa, broken. No, I can handle it. I'm sorry, I'll be better. Good, because I can't have this drama. I have enough stress with Claire crying about baby stuff all the time. The recording ended. Claire felt numb, beyond anger, beyond pain, in some territory where emotions didn't have names yet. He was going to discard her too, she said, eventually, once she stopped being useful. Yes, Douglas said, Ryan uses people, and when they stop serving his purposes, he throws them away. Emma was pacing, her hands clenched into fists. Can we use this? Can we prove he encouraged the attack? The prosecution is building that case, Douglas said. But Claire, you need to understand what this means for you. If Ryan is charged as an accessory to attempted murder, the media storm will be intense. Your private life will be dissected publicly, and Ryan will fight back hard. Let him fight, Claire said. Her voice was steadier than she felt. I'm done protecting him. A knock on the door interrupted. Detective Walsh entered, looking even more tired than yesterday. Mrs. Mitchell, and she said, Vanessa Hayes is being arraigned this afternoon. She's formally confessed to the attack, but she's also making serious accusations against your husband. I know, Claire said. Douglas told me. Ryan lawyered up, Detective Walsh continued. Criminal defense, expensive one. He's claiming Vanessa is a stalker who became obsessed with him. Says he tried to let her down gently, denies any romantic relationship. Claire laughed. It came out harsh and bitter. Of course he does. We have the emails, Detective Walsh said, the recordings, financial records of the apartment, and gifts. Ryan's lies are documented, but I need to warn you, he's going to claim you're an unreliable witness. Pregnancy hormones, emotional instability, jealousy. He's already started planting those seeds with reporters. Anonymous sources saying Claire was controlling, Emma said. We saw it online this morning, Ryan's PR counterattack. Claire felt her blood pressure rising. The monitor beeped. A nurse appeared at the door, checking the screen. You all need to give her a break, the nurse said. This stress isn't good for the baby. 5 more minutes, Detective Walsh said. Mrs. Mitchell, I need to ask directly, do you want to press charges against your husband? For what? For his role in this. Conspiracy, reckless endangerment, emotional abuse. We're building a case, but it would be stronger with your testimony. Claire looked at her hands. They were shaking again. She pressed them against her belly, feeling her daughter move. What kind of father would this baby have? A manipulative one? A calculating one? A man who called her strategy? Yes, Claire said, I want to press charges. Detective Walsh nodded. Okay, we'll need a detailed statement. Not today, you need rest. But soon. And Mrs. Mitchell? Document everything, texts, calls, any contact he makes. It's all evidence now. She left. Douglas prepared to follow. Wait, Claire said. What happens next? Legally? Restraining order first, Douglas said, against both Ryan and Vanessa. Then divorce proceedings or do things. Given the circumstances, we'll push for emergency custody provisions. Ryan won't have unsupervised access to the baby, not until he's undergone evaluation. Will he fight it? Douglas smiled grimly. Oh yes, he'll fight everything. But Claire, he's already lost. He just doesn't know it yet. After they left, Emma climbed into the hospital bed beside Claire, careful of the IV lines and monitors. I never liked him, Emma said quietly. From the first time you brought him home, something about him felt off. Why didn't you say anything? I did, remember? I said he seemed too smooth, too perfect. You said I was being overprotective. Claire did remember, 2 weeks after she started dating Ryan. Emma had pulled her aside at a family dinner. He's performing, Emma had said. Like he studied what families are supposed to look like and he's acting the part. And Claire had been offended, had accused Emma of being jealous that Claire was happy, had created distance for weeks. You were right, Claire whispered. I wish I'd pushed harder, Emma said. I wish I'd made you listen. I wasn't ready to hear it, Claire said. I wanted the fairy tale, the successful husband, the baby, the perfect life. I ignored every red flag because the truth was too scary. They lay together in silence. Outside, the city moved on. People went to work, ate lunch, made plans, lived their normal lives. Claire's normal life was over. But lying there with Emma's hand covering hers and her daughter moving inside her belly, Claire felt something shift. Not hope, not yet, but possibility. The version of herself who believed Ryan's lies was dead. Good. She'd been weak, naive, desperate to be loved. The woman emerging from the ashes would be different. Harder, wiser, self-sufficient, and absolutely done with men who called her pregnancy strategy. 3 days had passed since the fire. Claire's burns were healing, her baby was stable, and the world had lost its collective mind over her story. Pregnant woman set ablaze by husband's mistress at family wedding was trending on every platform. Videos from wedding guests had gone viral. Bridget's photographs were everywhere. Claire's dress in flames, her dive into the pool, the moment of impact captured forever. Claire sat in her hospital bed, Emma's laptop open in front of her, scrolling through the nightmare. Stop reading the comments, Emma said from the chair. She'd barely left Claire's side. I can't, Claire said, because mixed in with the sympathy were accusations. She must have known about the affair. What did she do to drive him away? Pregnant women can be crazy. Maybe she was controlling. Ryan's PR campaign was working. Anonymous sources told tabloids that Claire had been emotionally unstable during the pregnancy, that she'd been paranoid about Ryan's work commitments, that the marriage had been strained. All lies. But lies said confidently enough became truth in the public eye. Mrs. Mitchell? A new nurse entered. They changed shifts every 8 hours. You have a visitor. Security cleared him. Robert Mitchell? Let him in, Claire said. Robert entered carrying flowers in a thick folder. He looked like he'd aged a decade in 3 days. How are you feeling? He asked. Like a liar, according to the internet, Claire said. Robert's jaw tightened. Ryan hired a PR firm. They're spreading those rumors, but I've hired someone better. By tonight, the narrative shifts. He opened the folder and spread documents on Claire's bed. This is Ryan's financial history, Robert said. Every transaction from the past 3 years. The forensic accountant found something beyond the affair. What? Emma asked, moving closer. Embezzlement, Robert said. $500,000 from company accounts over 3 years. Small amounts, cleverly hidden. But there. Claire stared at the numbers. $500,000. That's why he could afford the Tribeca apartment, she said. The gifts, the hotels, he was stealing from you. From the company, Robert corrected, which means from every employee and shareholder. Criminal charges are being filed. The Manhattan DA is involved now. Does Ryan know? Claire asked. Not yet. He'll find out when he's arrested, probably tomorrow. Claire tried to feel satisfaction, vindication, but mostly she just felt tired. Her phone buzzed. Ryan's number. She'd blocked him twice, but he kept calling from different phones. Don't answer, Emma said. But Claire did. Put it on speaker. Claire, thank God. Please, just listen. No, Claire said. Her voice was calm, cold. You listen. I know about the embezzlement. I know you're about to be arrested. I know everything, Ryan. Every lie, every manipulation, every calculation. Silence on the other end. The police told you, Ryan finally said. Not a question. Your father told me, Claire said. He hired forensic accountants, lawyers, investigators. Everything you did is documented. Every cent you stole, every email you sent, every promise you made to Vanessa about leaving me after the baby. Claire, you don't understand. I did it for us, for our future. You called our pregnancy strategy, Claire said. You told Vanessa I meant nothing. You manipulated her until she tried to kill me. You stole money from your own father's company. Nothing you did was for us. It was all for you. I can explain. No, you're done explaining. You're done lying. The restraining order means you can't contact me. This call is already being recorded and will be given to the police. Do not call again. Do not text, do not come near me or our daughter. Our daughter, Ryan said, his voice breaking. Claire, she's my baby too. You can't keep me from her. Watch me, Claire said, and ended the call. Her hands were shaking uncontrollably, adrenaline dumping through her system, making her feel simultaneously powerful and terrified. Emma hugged her. You were amazing. I was a bitch, Claire said. You were strong, Robert corrected. And appropriate. Ryan needed to hear that. But Claire's chest was tight, her breathing shallow, because standing up to him, saying those words, felt like jumping off a cliff, exhilarating and terrifying. What if she couldn't do this alone? What if she needed him, despite everything? No, she pushed the thought away. That was fear talking, old Claire talking. The woman who twisted her wedding ring unconsciously during stressful conversations, who made herself smaller to avoid conflict. New Claire didn't need a man who called her baby strategy. The door burst open. Emma's husband, Marcus, rushed in, followed by Bridget. Turn on the TV, Bridget said. Channel 7, now. Emma found the remote. The local news filled the screen. A reporter stood outside Ryan's office building. Breaking news in the wedding fire case. Sources confirmed that Ryan Mitchell, husband of attempted murder victim Claire Mitchell, will be arrested tomorrow on embezzlement charges. Police sources say Mitchell stole over $500,000 from his father's real estate company over a 3-year period. These funds allegedly supported an 18-month affair with Vanessa Hayes, the woman who attacked Claire Mitchell at a family wedding 4 days ago. The screen cut to photos, Ryan and Vanessa together, entering the Tribeca apartment. At restaurants, the evidence was damning. Additionally, the reporter continued, prosecutors are investigating whether Ryan Mitchell encouraged or facilitated the attack on his wife. Recordings have emerged of Mitchell telling Hayes that if Claire was out of the picture, they could be together sooner. While no charges have been filed yet on that front, sources say it's under active investigation. The screen showed wedding footage, Claire's dress burning, her dive into the pool, paramedics loading her into the ambulance. Ryan Mitchell's attorney released a statement denying all allegations, claiming this is a witch hunt orchestrated by his estranged father. But sources close to the family paint a different picture of a man who systematically manipulated both women in his life while stealing from his family business. The news cut to commercial. Claire's phone started buzzing, text after text, friends she hadn't spoken to in months. Oh my God, are you okay? Colleagues, we had no idea. We're so sorry. Her mother's best friend. Your mom would be proud of how you're handling this. That one made Claire cry. Your story is out there now, Bridget said gently. The real story, not Ryan's lies. Everyone knows, Claire whispered. Everyone knows what happened to me. Everyone knows what he did to you, Emma corrected. There's a difference. Claire's phone rang, a number she didn't recognize. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Mrs. Mitchell, this is Jennifer, Ryan's sister. The bride, the woman whose wedding had been destroyed by Claire's burning. Hi, Claire said cautiously. I wanted to call before, but I didn't know what to say, Jennifer said. Her voice was thick, like she'd been crying. My wedding is all anyone talks about now, not the vows or the first dance, just the fire, just the drama. I'm sorry, Claire said automatically. Don't, Jennifer said sharply. Don't apologize. That's what Ryan keeps doing. Sorry his mistress ruined my wedding. Sorry for the media circus. Sorry, but he's not actually sorry. He's sorry he got caught. Claire didn't know what to say. I called to tell you I'm testifying, Jennifer continued. Against Ryan. The prosecution asked for character witnesses. I'm telling them exactly what kind of person my brother is. Jennifer, you don't have to. Yes, I do, Jennifer said, because I've watched him lie our whole lives. I've watched him charm people and use them and discard them. And I told myself it wasn't my problem. But he brought that woman to my wedding. He knew she was unstable. He knew what could happen. And he did it anyway because he didn't care about anyone but himself. Jennifer's voice broke. You were 7 months pregnant, Claire. You could have died. The baby could have died at my wedding. Because my brother is a selfish, manipulative bastard. I'm okay, Claire said. We're okay. But you shouldn't have to be just okay, Jennifer said. You should be able to trust your husband. You should feel safe. And instead you're in a hospital bed, burned and traumatized, while he plays victim on TV. They talked for 20 more minutes. Jennifer shared stories about Ryan's past. The girlfriend in college he'd gaslit into therapy, the business partner he'd cheated, the pattern of behavior their parents had ignored because Robert's money fixed everything. Until it didn't, Jennifer said. Until he hurt someone Dad actually cares about. After they hung up, Claire felt something loosen in her chest. Validation from unexpected places. That afternoon, Vanessa's arraignment happened. Claire watched it streaming on Emma's laptop. Vanessa looked small in her orange jumpsuit. Broken, nothing like the polished woman from company parties. Her lawyer argued for reduced bail, citing mental health concerns. The prosecutor countered with Claire's hospital photos, burns covering her back and legs, the baby's distress readings, the public danger Vanessa represented. Bail was set at $1 million. Vanessa couldn't pay it. She'd remain in custody pending trial. When the camera panned to the gallery, Claire saw him. Ryan sitting in the back row, watching Vanessa, the woman who'd tried to kill his wife, who'd almost murdered his daughter, who'd claimed she loved him. And Ryan was there, watching her, not at the hospital with Claire, at Vanessa's arraignment. He still cares about her, Claire said. He cares about himself, Robert said. He'd stayed all day working from Claire's hospital room. Vanessa knows things. He's making sure she doesn't turn on him completely. Too late, Emma said, pulling up a news article. Vanessa's lawyer just released another recording from the day before the wedding. They listened together. Vanessa, I can't do this anymore, Ryan. Watching you with her, pretending to be happy for your family. It's killing me. Ryan, then do something about it. You're always complaining but never acting. If you really loved me, you'd do whatever it takes to fix this. Vanessa, what does that mean? Ryan, it means stop crying to me and start thinking strategically. I can't be with you openly until Claire is gone. So either accept that and wait or make a choice. But I can't keep having the same conversation. Silence, then Vanessa, small and broken. What would you want me to do? Ryan, I can't tell you that, but if something happened, if Claire decided to leave me or if she was out of the picture somehow, well, then we'd be free, wouldn't we? The recording ended. The hospital room was silent. He told her to do it, Emma whispered. Holy shit, he told her to hurt you. He implied it, Douglas said, appearing in the doorway. He must have been listening. Legally, it's complicated, but morally, yes. He encouraged her to remove Claire from the equation. Claire felt cold, the full horror of it settling over her like ice water. Ryan hadn't just cheated, hadn't just lied, hadn't just stolen. He'd wanted her gone. Dead? Maybe not directly, but out of his life, permanently. And he'd manipulated Vanessa's fragile mental state until she tried to make it happen. He's going to be charged, Douglas said. Conspiracy to commit attempted murder. The DA is moving forward based on this recording and the others. When? Robert asked. Tomorrow, same time as the embezzlement arrest. Tomorrow, Ryan's entire life would implode tomorrow. Part of Claire felt savage satisfaction. He deserved this, deserved to lose everything. But another part, the part that had loved him once, felt only sadness for the life they could have had if he'd been honest, for the father her daughter would never know, for the man she'd thought he was, who'd never actually existed. That night, alone in her hospital room, Claire sat in the bathroom. She pressed her forehead against the cool metal of the door, breathing slowly, letting herself feel everything. Fear, anger, grief, relief, confusion. 3 minutes she sat there, just breathing, just being. When she emerged, she felt clearer, not better, but present. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Mrs. Mitchell, this is Andrea Chen from Women's Crisis Center. We saw your story on the news. If you're interested, we'd like to offer our support services, therapy, legal help, a survivor support group. No pressure, just know we're here. Claire saved the number. She wasn't ready for therapy, wasn't ready for support groups. But maybe someday. Someday when the wounds weren't so fresh. Someday when she could talk about this without feeling like she was drowning. Someday when she was more than just a woman who survived. But not today. Today, she was just trying to make it to tomorrow. And that was enough. Robert Mitchell arrived at Claire's hospital room at 6 the next morning with a coffee and croissants. "You can't keep feeding me French pastries," Claire said, but she took one anyway. "You're eating for two," Robert said, "and after today, you'll need your strength." Today, Ryan's arrest day. Claire had barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw him, the man she'd married, the man who'd called their baby strategy. "Are you ready to talk about your future?" Robert asked. "I'm still processing my present," Claire said. Robert sat in the chair beside her bed. The billionaire who'd built an empire looked suddenly old, tired. "I failed as a father," he said it quietly. "I gave Ryan everything, money, position, respect. But I never taught him character. I never made him earn anything. And now you've paid the price for my failures." "Robert, let me finish," he said. "I can't undo what's been done, but I can make sure you and my granddaughter are taken care of. Not as charity, as family. Real family." "I'm divorcing your son," Claire said. "Good," Robert said. "He doesn't deserve you. But that doesn't change that you're carrying my grandchild, and I'd like to be in her life, if you'll allow it." Claire's throat tightened. Her own father had died when she was 12. She'd missed having that presence ever since. "I'd like that," she said. Robert nodded. "Then here's what I'm proposing. I've secured you an apartment, paid in full, 2 bedrooms, good neighborhood, near a park. It's yours, no strings attached. I've also set up a trust fund for the baby. She'll be financially secure regardless of what happens with Ryan." "That's too much." "It's not enough," Robert said, "but it's a start. I'm also keeping you on the company healthcare plan permanently, and Douglas will handle your divorce and custody proceedings at no cost." Claire felt tears coming. "Why are you doing this?" "Because you're the daughter-in-law I should have wanted from the beginning," Robert said. "Strong, honest, kind despite having every reason not to be. Because you're giving me a grandchild I don't deserve. And because someone needs to show you that not all Mitchell men are worthless." They sat in comfortable silence, eating croissants and watching the sunrise through the hospital window. At 9 o'clock, Douglas arrived with updates. "Ryan was arrested at his apartment 30 minutes ago," he said. "Embezzlement and conspiracy to commit attempted murder. Bail hearing is this afternoon." "Will he get bail?" Emma asked. She'd appeared with fresh clothes for Claire. The hospital was finally releasing her today. "Probably," Douglas said. "He's not a flight risk, a white-collar defendant, but the amount will be substantial, and he'll have conditions. No contact with Claire or Vanessa, ankle monitor, regular check-ins." "So he'll be walking around free," Emma said bitterly. "For now," Douglas said, "but his reputation is destroyed. His job is gone. His assets are frozen pending investigation. He's essentially broke." "Good," Claire said. Then, because saying it out loud felt important, "I'm not sorry he's suffering. Does that make me a bad person?" "It makes you human," Robert said. Detective Walsh arrived at 10 to take Claire's formal statement. Emma stayed in the room holding Claire's hand as Claire recounted everything. The ignored red flags, the gaslighting, the pregnancy announcement that should have been joyful but felt wrong. The night of the fire, the hospital, the emails, the recordings. All of it. "You're incredibly composed," Detective Walsh said when Claire finished. "I cried for 3 days," Claire said. "Now I'm just angry." "Good," Detective Walsh said. "Stay angry. Anger keeps you fighting. And Claire, you're doing everything right. Documentation, restraining orders, legal representation. You're building an ironclad case." After Detective Walsh left, Patricia arrived. Claire's mother-in-law looked different, less polished, more human. She carried a small bag. "I brought you something," Patricia said. Inside the bag were photo albums, old ones with actual printed pictures. "These are from when I was pregnant with Ryan," Patricia said. "And Jennifer, I want you to have them." "Why?" Claire asked. "Because I made mistakes," Patricia said. "I stayed in a marriage that wasn't happy. I taught my children that appearance mattered more than truth. I enabled Robert's workaholism and Ryan's entitlement. And my daughter got hurt. You got hurt. I don't want you to make my mistakes." She opened one album, young Patricia, pregnant and glowing, standing beside a young Robert who looked stiff and uncomfortable. I was 23, Patricia said, pregnant with Ryan, and I already knew Robert loved his work more than me, but I stayed because Mitchell women don't leave. We endure. She flipped to another photo, Patricia holding baby Ryan, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. I was lonely, Patricia said. For 38 years I was lonely, and I told myself that was what marriage was, that partnership meant suffering quietly, that love was duty. She closed the album. Don't do what I did, Claire. Don't stay when you should go. Don't pretend when you should scream. Don't endure when you should escape. I already left, Claire said. I know, Patricia said. That's why you're braver than I ever was. They talked for an hour. Patricia shared things Claire had never known. About Robert's affairs in the early years. About her own depression. About the therapy she'd finally started last year after Jennifer got married. I'm learning who I am outside of being Robert Mitchell's wife, Patricia said. At 61, I'm finally learning. Better late than never, Claire said. Patricia smiled. A real smile, sad but genuine. Exactly. That afternoon, Claire was discharged. Emma had brought clothes, maternity jeans, and a soft sweater that didn't touch Claire's healing burns. Robert drove them to the new apartment. It was in a brownstone in Brooklyn, 3rd floor, with tall windows and actual character. It's beautiful, Claire breathed. The furniture was already there. A comfortable couch, a dining table, a nursery painted soft yellow with a crib and changing table and everything a baby could need. Patricia and I furnished it, Robert said. If you don't like anything, we'll change it. But Claire loved it. Every piece felt thoughtful. Adult furniture, not college apartment, hand-me-downs. A real home. Emma helped Claire unpack the few items she'd taken from the Queen's apartment. Clothes, books, her laptop. We need to go back for the rest of your stuff, Emma said. I don't want any of it, Claire said. Everything there reminds me of him. Fresh start, Emma said. Exactly. That evening, Claire sat on her new couch in her new apartment, hand on her belly, and cried. Not sad tears, not angry tears, released tears. For 3 hours she cried. Emma held her. Bridget came over with ice cream. They didn't talk much, just sat together. Around 11, Claire's tears finally stopped. I'm okay, she said. You will be, Emma corrected. At 2 in the morning, Claire couldn't sleep. The baby was active, kicking and rolling, making sleep impossible. She went to the nursery Robert and Patricia had created, ran her hands over the crib rails, the soft yellow walls, the mobile with little elephants. Her daughter would sleep here, would grow up here, would never know the Quinn apartment where Claire and Ryan had lived, would never have memories of her parents together. Was that better or worse? Claire didn't know. What she did know, she was 7.5 months pregnant, healing from burns, divorcing a man facing criminal charges, and somehow she was okay. Not happy, not healed, but okay. Standing in her daughter's nursery at 2 in the morning, Claire made promises. I will be enough for you. I will teach you to trust your instincts. I will show you that survival looks like strength. I will never let a man make you feel like you're less than everything. The baby kicked as if in agreement. Claire smiled. First real smile in days. We're going to be okay, she whispered. Just you and me. We're going to be okay. And for the first time since the fire, she almost believed it. 5 days in her new apartment, and Claire was starting to feel human again. The burns were healing. Pink new skin replacing charred. Still painful, but bearable. The baby was active and healthy. Claire's obstetrician had cleared her to move around normally with restrictions. No stress, Dr. Martinez had said, which made Claire laugh, because her entire life was stress now. Emma had moved in temporarily. Claire had protested, but Emma insisted. You're not doing this alone, Emma said. Not the last weeks of pregnancy, not the birth, not the aftermath. I'm here. And she was, making breakfast, answering phone calls from reporters Claire couldn't handle, being a buffer between Claire and the world. Bridget came by every afternoon with updates from the outside world. Your photos are in a gallery show, Bridget said on day 6. The curator wants to call it survival. Revenue goes to domestic violence charities. I need your permission. What photos? Claire asked. Bridget pulled out her camera and showed Claire. The wedding photos. The fire. Claire emerging from the pool, baby bump visible, dress charred and smoking. They were beautiful. Terrible and beautiful. People should see them, Claire said. If it helps someone leave sooner, if it makes one woman trust her instincts, then yes. That afternoon, Ryan's lawyer called. Douglas took the call, speakerphone on, so Claire could hear. My client would like to request a conversation with Mrs. Mitchell, the lawyer said. Professional voice, emotionless. No, Douglas said. My client has a right to communicate with his wife about their unborn child. Your client has a restraining order preventing exactly that, Douglas said, and he's facing criminal charges for conspiring to harm that unborn child. So no conversation. We're prepared to petition the court. Petition away, Douglas said. I'll see you in front of a judge, and I'll bring recordings of your client telling his mistress to remove his wife from the picture. Good luck with that. He hung up. That was satisfying, Emma said. But Claire felt uneasy. Ryan was fighting back. Of course he was. He'd never accepted losing gracefully at anything. That night, articles started appearing online. Sources close to Ryan Mitchell say his estranged wife has a history of mental health issues. Anonymous friends claim Claire Mitchell was controlling and paranoid during pregnancy. Was Ryan Mitchell's affair the result of an abusive marriage? The gaslighting had gone public. Claire read them all, each one a fresh cut. Stop reading, Emma said, trying to take the laptop. They're calling me crazy, Claire said, saying I drove him to cheat, that I made up the conspiracy charges. No one believes that, Emma said, but some people did. Claire's social media was full of comments, half supportive, half accusatory. She's playing victim for attention. What did she do to make him look elsewhere? Pregnancy hormones make women crazy. Maybe she imagined some of this. Claire's hands moved automatically to organize the items on her coffee table. Coasters by size, remote controls aligned, magazines stacked perfectly, panic cleaning, control behavior. She recognized it but couldn't stop. At 2 in the morning, unable to sleep, Claire found herself in the kitchen. Her hands moved automatically, pulling out ingredients. Flour, eggs, ricotta cheese, lasagna, her mother's recipe. The one Claire had made 100 times, hands moving through familiar motions without thought. Comfort through routine. She layered noodles and cheese and sauce, the repetitive motion soothing. By 3, the lasagna was in the oven. By 4, it was done and cooling. Claire sat at her kitchen table, eating a piece of her mother's lasagna at 4 in the morning, crying quietly. Emma found her there at sunrise. You made lasagna, Emma said. I couldn't sleep, Claire said. It smells like Mom's. It is Mom's. They ate together in silence. Grief and love and comfort mixed in every bite. The next day, Jennifer called. Have you seen the articles? She asked. Yes, Claire said. They're lies, all of them. I called every reporter who'll listen, told them the truth about Ryan, about his history, about the pattern. Thank you, Claire said. I'm so angry, Jennifer said. At him, at our parents for enabling him, at myself for not speaking up sooner. You're speaking up now, Claire said. Too late, Jennifer said. Not for the next woman, Claire said. Your testimony will be on record. The next woman he targets can Google him and see the truth. Jennifer was quiet, then, I never thought of it that way. Making it public isn't about revenge, Claire said. It's about protection. After they hung up, Claire felt something settle. Purpose maybe, using her pain to protect others. Day 10 brought news. Vanessa's trial date was set, 6 months away. She'd remain in custody until then. She wants to testify against Ryan, Detective Walsh said during a check-in call, in exchange for reduced charges. Her lawyer says she has more recordings, more evidence. Will it work? Claire asked. Depends on what she has, Detective Walsh said. But Claire, Ryan's in serious trouble. The evidence is overwhelming. He's going to prison. Prison. Her daughter's father in prison. Claire should have felt triumph, justice, victory. Instead, she felt sad. For the life that could have been if Ryan had been honest. For her daughter who'd never know her father as a free man. That afternoon, Douglas arrived with divorce papers. Everything we discussed, he said, Full custody to you, supervised visitation for Ryan contingent on psychological evaluation, child support based on his pre-arrest income, division of assets. He has assets? Claire asked. The Queen's apartment was in both your names, Douglas said. You'll split the equity. It's not much, but something. His car, his personal belongings. Once the embezzlement restitution is settled, there won't be much left. Claire signed the papers. Her hand was steady. How long until it's final? She asked. 90 days minimum, Douglas said. Could be longer if Ryan contests, but given the circumstances, I doubt he will. He'll contest, Claire said, out of spite. And she was right. The next day, Ryan filed his own motion, requesting joint custody, claiming Claire was unfit due to emotional instability, demanding access to the baby immediately after birth. He's delusional, Emma said, reading the filing. He's desperate, Douglas said. His entire life is collapsing. The baby is the only thing he has left. He doesn't have her either, Claire said. But that night, alone in her room while Emma slept in the guest room, Claire felt doubt creep in. What if Ryan was right? What if she was too broken for this? What if growing up without a father damaged her daughter more than having a manipulative one? What if she couldn't do this alone? The baby kicked. Hard. Claire's hand went automatically to her belly. I know, she whispered. I'm being stupid. We're okay. We're going to be okay. But the doubt lingered, poison planted by Ryan's accusations taking root. She went to the bathroom at 3 a.m, sat in the bathtub with the shower running, letting the sound drown out her thoughts. 3 minutes of just breathing, just being. When she emerged, she felt raw but clearer. She wasn't broken. She was breaking open. Broken things could heal, could become stronger at the fracture points. She just had to believe it. Douglas called at 9 a.m, day 14. Vanessa's lawyer released new evidence and he said, you need to see this. He arrived within the hour, laptop in hand. Emma made coffee. Robert had started coming by every morning, and he was already there, working from Claire's dining table like it was his second office. What is it? Claire asked. Douglas opened his laptop. Text messages between Ryan and Vanessa from 3 months ago. He turned the screen toward Claire. Ryan, the timing is complicated. I need Claire to carry this baby to term. After that, everything changes. Vanessa, I'm pregnant too. What about my baby? What about us? Claire's breath stopped. She was pregnant? Emma whispered. Douglas nodded. 2 months along when these texts were sent. Vanessa, I need to know you're choosing me, choosing our baby, not her, not that obligation. Ryan, my father's already setting up trusts for Claire's baby. But you and I, we'd be starting from scratch. Can you really handle that? Single income, no family support? Vanessa, are you saying you want me to get rid of our baby because it's not convenient? Ryan, I'm saying you need to think practically. We're not in a position for a child yet, not until I've secured my inheritance. Maybe in a few years when we're actually together, we can plan a family properly. Claire felt nauseous, the lasagna from last night, threatening to come back up. Keep reading, Douglas said quietly. Vanessa, you're asking me to choose. Your baby with her or us. Ryan, I'm asking you to be smart, to think long-term. If you really love me, you'll understand that timing matters. Vanessa, I'll make an appointment. Ryan, I'll send money for it. The text stopped. She had an abortion, Claire said. Yes, Douglas said. 2 months ago, while you were 6 months pregnant. Claire pressed her hands against her belly. Her daughter kicked, oblivious. He paid for it, Emma said, voice shaking with rage. He paid to end Vanessa's pregnancy while you were carrying his heir. Not heir, Claire said. Her voice was steady, cold. Strategy, remember? That's what he called my baby. Strategy. Robert had gone white. My son did this? Your son, Douglas confirmed, manipulated Vanessa into ending a pregnancy she wanted while maintaining Claire's pregnancy because it served his purposes. He valued children based on utility. The room was silent. Claire felt something inside her crystallize. Not break. Crystallize, become diamond hard and unbreakable. Does Vanessa's lawyer have these texts? She asked. Yes, Douglas said. They're being submitted as evidence of Ryan's pattern of manipulation and control. The prosecution is arguing this proves Ryan psychologically abused both women systematically. Good, Claire said. Her phone rang, Ryan's mother. Patricia, Claire answered. Douglas sent me the text, Patricia said. She was crying, a phone. Claire, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I raised a man capable of this. He made his own choices, Claire said. But I enabled them, Patricia said. Every time he manipulated someone, I made excuses. Every time he lied, I looked away. I told myself he was ambitious, strategic, when really he was just cruel. Patricia, no, you need to hear this. When Ryan was in high school, there was an incident with a girl. She claimed he pressured her into things she didn't want. Robert paid her family to keep quiet, to not press charges. We told ourselves she was lying, that Ryan would never. Patricia's voice broke. But he would, he did, and we taught him that money fixes everything, that consequences don't apply to Mitchell men. After they hung up, Claire sat motionless. You okay? Emma asked. I'm realizing I never knew him, Claire said. The man I married doesn't exist. Never existed. It was always performance, always calculation. That afternoon, the gallery showing Bridget's photos opened. Claire wasn't planning to attend, too public, too raw, but Robert convinced her. Let people see you, he said. Let them see the survivor, not the victim. So Claire went. Emma on one side, Robert on the other, Bridget leading the way. The gallery was crowded. People she didn't know looking at the worst moment of her life immortalized in high-resolution photographs. Claire's dress on fire, her face twisted in pain and terror. The pool dive, the aftermath. But also, Claire emerging from the water, hand protectively on her belly. Claire in the ambulance, eyes fierce despite the trauma. Claire at the hospital, signing divorce papers, jaw set with determination. You look powerful, a woman said. Maybe 50, with kind eyes. My ex tried to kill me too. Twice. I didn't report it because I was scared. But seeing you, seeing your strength, I filed charges yesterday. She hugged Claire and walked away before Claire could respond. Another woman approached, then another, and another. Stories of abuse, of gaslighting, of finally leaving, of finding strength. You made me believe I could, one woman said. You showed me it's not my fault, another said. You proved that survival looks like strength, a third said. By the end of the evening, Claire was exhausted, emotionally drained, but also something else, purposeful, maybe. Her pain wasn't just hers anymore. It was helping others. That night, Claire lay in bed, unable to sleep. She pulled out her laptop and started typing. Not a diary, not an article, just thoughts. 3 weeks ago, someone set me on fire. Someone who claimed to love my husband. Someone who my husband manipulated into believing I was the enemy. 3 weeks ago, I discovered my husband called our daughter strategy. 3 weeks ago, my life exploded. But I'm still here, we're still here. And every day, I get stronger. This is for every woman who ignored her instincts, who believed the lies because the truth was too scary, who stayed too long because leaving felt impossible. It's not impossible, it's just hard. But you're harder. She published it on her blog, the one she'd stopped updating years ago when Ryan said it was embarrassing for his wife to have opinions online. By morning, it had 10,000 shares. By afternoon, 50,000. Women were commenting, sharing their stories, finding connection in collective pain and collective strength. Claire's phone rang constantly. Interview requests, speaking opportunities, publishing offers for a book. It's overwhelming, she told Douglas when he came by with more legal documents. You don't have to do any of it, Douglas said. But Claire, your voice matters. You're helping people. That evening, Claire's water broke. She was standing in the kitchen, reading comments on her blog post, when she felt the warm gush. Emma, she shouted, it's time. Emma appeared, already grabbing bags they'd packed weeks ago. But you're not due for 3 more weeks, Emma said. Tell that to her, Claire said, hand on her belly. They called Robert. He arrived within minutes, having apparently been sitting in his car downstairs just in case. The drive to the hospital was surreal. Claire felt contractions building, but her mind was strangely calm. Her daughter was coming. Early, but coming. And Ryan wasn't there. By law, he'd been notified. But Claire's support team, Emma, Bridget, Patricia, and Robert, were under strict instructions. Ryan would not be in that delivery room. This was Claire's moment. Her daughter's birth wouldn't be tainted by the man who'd called her strategy. At the hospital, Dr. Martinez examined Claire quickly. 4 centimeters, she said, moving fast. First babies usually take longer, but your daughter seems eager. She takes after me, Claire said, and everyone laughed. The next 6 hours were pain and breathing, and Emma's hand in hers and Robert pacing like a traditional nervous grandfather, and Patricia arriving with homemade soup for after. At 2 in the morning, complications began. Baby's heart rate is dropping, Dr. Martinez said. Her calm voice had an edge of concern. We need to do an emergency C-section. Terror flooded Claire. Is she okay? She will be, Dr. Martinez said, but we need to act now. They wheeled Claire to surgery. Emma wasn't allowed in. Claire was alone with strangers who would cut her open to save her daughter. Count backwards from 10, the anesthesiologist said. 10, Claire said. 9, 8. She thought about everything that had led here. The fire, the betrayal, the emails, the divorce. 7, 6, 5. She thought about survival, about becoming someone new, someone stronger. 4, 3. She thought about her daughter, about the life they'd build together. 2. And then nothing. Claire woke to crying, not her own, her daughter's, small, perfect, furious at being evicted. She's healthy, a nurse said, placing the baby on Claire's chest. 8 pounds, 2 ounces, perfect APGAR scores. You did it, Mom. Claire stared at her daughter, dark hair, squished face, tiny fingers grasping at air. Hi, Claire whispered. I'm your mom. I'm sorry it's complicated. I'm sorry your dad is what he is. But I promise you, I'm going to be enough. The baby stopped crying, turned her face toward Claire's voice. I'm going to name you Grace, Claire said, because we survived with Grace. And Eleanor, after my grandmother. Grace Eleanor Mitchell. And you're going to be extraordinary. Grace made a sound, tiny, perfect. And Claire, who'd cried so much in the past 3 weeks, smiled. Pure, genuine, joyful. We made it, she whispered. We're okay. 3 months after Grace's birth, Claire's apartment was chaotic in the best way. Baby gear everywhere, bottles drying on the counter, laundry in various stages of completion. The organized, pristine space from before birth had transformed into something lived in and real. Claire loved it. She sat in the nursery's rocking chair at 3 in the morning, feeding Grace, and felt peace, not happiness, not yet. The wounds were too fresh for happiness. But peace, contentment, purpose. Grace was a good baby, or maybe there were no bad babies, just exhausted parents. She slept in 2-hour stretches, ate enthusiastically, made the kind of faces that convinced Claire she was already expressing opinions about the world. You're judging my outfit choice, aren't you? Claire said as Grace scrunched her nose at the spit-up, stained t-shirt Claire wore. Yeah, well, motherhood is glamorous, kid. Get used to it. Emma had moved back to her own place 2 weeks ago, finally convinced Claire could handle solo parenting. But she visited daily. Marcus brought groceries. Patricia stopped by with home-cooked meals. Robert came every morning, held Grace while Claire showered, read the newspaper to his granddaughter like she understood stock prices and political analysis. She's brilliant, Robert declared one morning. She looked at the financial section for a full 3 seconds. She was tracking the pattern, Claire said, not reading. Semantics, Robert said. Ryan had been formally charged with embezzlement and conspiracy to commit attempted murder. His trial was scheduled for 4 months away. He'd tried calling when Grace was born. His lawyer had filed motions for visitation rights. Douglas had blocked everything. You're not stable enough for custody, Douglas had argued in court. You're facing criminal charges. You manipulated 2 women into psychological breakdowns. You'll see your daughter when she's 18 and can decide for herself if she wants contact. The judge agreed, supervised visitation only, once Ryan completed court-mandated therapy, which he'd refused to start. So Grace knew nothing about her father, and Claire didn't feel guilty about it. One morning, Claire opened her laptop to find an email from a literary agent. Your blog post went viral. I'd like to discuss representation. You have a story people need to hear. Please consider writing a book. A book about her disaster, about surviving attempted murder and betrayal and single motherhood. Claire stared at Grace, sleeping in her bassinet nearby. What do you think? She asked her daughter. Should I write about how your conception was called strategy? About how someone set me on fire? About how we survived? Grace sneezed in her sleep. I'll take that as a yes, Claire said. That afternoon, while Grace napped, Claire started outlining, not just her story, but the research behind it, statistics on domestic violence, resources for women leaving dangerous relationships, stories from other survivors, making it bigger than just her pain, making it useful. Bridget's gallery show had sold out. Every photograph purchased, revenue sent to women's shelters. The curator wanted to do a national tour. You're becoming a symbol, Bridget said during a visit. That okay with you? I'm still figuring out who I am after all this, Claire said. Adding symbol to the list feels weird. You're Claire, Emma said. Mom, survivor, SaaS distributor, bad cook. I made lasagna last week that was excellent, Claire protested. Once, Emma said. You made one good lasagna. The other 17 meals have been questionable at best. They laughed. Real laughter. The kind that felt foreign after so much pain. Grace woke crying. Claire picked her up, and the baby immediately calmed. She knows you, Patricia said. She'd arrived with her weekly care package of frozen meals. Know she's safe with you. That night, Claire received a letter. Not email, an actual handwritten letter from Vanessa. Her hands shook opening it. Claire, I don't expect forgiveness. What I did was unforgivable. I tried to kill you. I tried to kill your baby. There's no apology adequate for that, but my therapist says I need to take responsibility. So here it is. I was wrong. I was manipulated, yes. Ryan played on my insecurities and mental health issues, but I made the choice. I bought the gasoline. I lit the match. I'm responsible. What I want you to know, Ryan told me you were abusing him, that you were controlling and cruel, that you trapped him with the pregnancy, that he was miserable but stuck because of family pressure. I believed him. I thought I was saving him. I was stupid and desperate and willing to believe what I wanted to be true. I'm in jail now. I'll probably be here for years. I'm getting help. Real help. Medication. Therapy. Learning about myself and why I was vulnerable to someone like Ryan. I hope you and your baby are okay. I hope you're healing. I hope someday you can think about what happened and not feel the fire anymore. I'm sorry, it's not enough, but it's all I have. Vanessa. Claire read it 3 times. Then she sat in her parked car in the building's garage for 5 minutes, hands on the steering wheel, unable to go upstairs yet, gathering strength before facing her apartment and her daughter and normal life after reading that letter. She understood why Vanessa had done it. The manipulation, the lies, the vulnerable mental state that Ryan exploited. But understanding wasn't forgiveness. Claire folded the letter and put it in a file with all the other evidence. Documentation of everything that happened. Maybe someday she'd feel compassion for Vanessa, the other victim in Ryan's game. But not today. Today she was still angry, still healing, still learning how to be a single mother who'd survived attempted murder. That was enough emotional labor for now. At Grace's 3-month checkup, Dr. Martinez commented on how well Claire was doing. Most new mothers are exhausted and overwhelmed, Dr. Martinez said. You seem centered. I survived someone trying to kill me, Claire said. Midnight feedings don't seem that bad in comparison. Dr. Martinez laughed, then sobered. Are you getting help? Therapy? The trauma you experienced? I'm starting therapy next week, Claire said. Robert insisted. He's paying for it. Says his granddaughter needs a mentally healthy mother. Smart man, Dr. Martinez said. That evening, while Grace slept, Claire did something she'd been avoiding. She Googled Ryan. His trial was all over the news. Pictures of him arriving at court, thin, haggard. Nothing like the confident man she'd married. The comments were savage. Hope he rots in prison. Abuser, manipulator, monster. His wife and baby are better off without him. Claire agreed with the last one. She found Ryan's social media. He'd posted once since his arrest. Everyone makes mistakes, but no one deserves to lose everything because of one bad decision. I'm working on becoming a better man. I hope someday my daughter knows I loved her. One bad decision, as if the affair, the manipulation, the embezzlement, the conspiracy to commit murder were all singular mistakes instead of a pattern of behavior spanning years. The comments on his post were mostly people calling him out, but some were sympathetic. People are too quick to judge. Everyone deserves a second chance. His wife probably drove him to it. Claire closed the browser. She didn't need to read more. Ryan's narrative was his problem now, not hers. That night, unable to sleep, Claire wrote more of her book, the chapter about recovery, about building a new life from ashes, about finding strength in unexpected places. About 3 a.m. feedings with her daughter, feeling grateful rather than exhausted, because they'd both survived to have these quiet moments together. Grace woke at 4. Claire changed her diaper, fed her, rocked her back to sleep. Looking at her daughter's face in the dim nursery light, Claire felt overwhelming love. The fierce protective kind. The kind that would fight armies. The kind that would survive fire. "You'll never doubt your worth," Claire whispered to sleeping Grace. "I'll make sure of that. You'll know what real love looks like. Not manipulation, not calculation. Real love. The kind that's honest and safe and builds you up instead of tearing you down." Grace made a tiny snoring sound. Claire smiled, the kind of smile that reached her eyes, the kind she hadn't been capable of for months. Healing wasn't linear. Some days were harder than others. Some nights she still woke up smelling gasoline, still felt the fire on her skin. But those moments were becoming less frequent, and the moments of peace, of joy, of purpose were becoming more common. Claire wasn't the woman she'd been before the fire. That woman was gone, burned away. The woman who emerged was different, harder in some ways, softer in others, more herself than she'd ever been when trying to be Ryan's version of a perfect wife. This woman was enough, for herself, for her daughter, for whatever came next. And that felt like winning. 2 weeks before Grace's first birthday, Claire received a call from the prosecutor's office. "Ryan's taking a plea deal," the attorney said. 7 years for embezzlement, conspiracy dropped in exchange for a guilty plea and testimony against his own defense. He won't serve full time probably, but he'll be in for at least 5. "Okay," Claire said. "He's also relinquishing parental rights," the attorney continued. "Complete termination, no visitation, no custody. You'll be sole parent legally." Claire sat down. This was good news. This was what she wanted. So why did she feel sad? "Mrs. Mitchell?" "I'm here," Claire said. "Thank you for telling me." After hanging up, she called Douglas. "It's over," she said, "really over." "How do you feel?" Douglas asked. "Relieved, Sinon, angry, free." She paused. "All of it at once." "That's normal," Douglas said. "Grief isn't linear. Even when someone you always was terrible, losing them still hurts." That afternoon, Emma and Bridget came over with wine and cake to celebrate. "To never having to deal with Ryan again," Bridget said, raising her glass. They toasted, laughed, shared stories of the past year. Grace crawled around, chasing a ball, oblivious to the milestone being celebrated. "She won't remember any of this," Emma said, watching Grace. "She'll never know what you went through." "I'll tell her," Claire said, "when she's old enough. Age-appropriate version. So she learns that leaving is possible, that survival is strength." "You should tell others too," Bridget said. "Your book, speaking engagements. You have a platform now." Claire had been avoiding that. The book was written but unpublished. The speaking requests were unanswered. Going public, really public, still felt scary. "I don't want to be defined by the worst thing that happened to me," Claire said. "You're not," Emma said. "You're defined by how you responded to it. There's a difference." That night, Claire reread her manuscript. All 90,000 words of it. Her story. Other women's stories. Research and resources and raw honesty. It was good. She knew it was good. She sent it to the literary agent who'd been patiently waiting. "I'm ready," her email said. Grace's first birthday party was small, family only. Emma and Marcus, Robert and Patricia, Jennifer and her husband, Bridget, Douglas, a few friends from Claire's office who'd supported her through everything. No Ryan, obviously, but also no drama about his absence. Grace didn't know him, didn't miss him. Her family was complete without him. They sang happy birthday. Grace smashed cake into her face. Everyone laughed and took photos and pretended for a few hours that life was simple and joyful. Because it was. In that moment, it really was. After everyone left, Claire gave Grace her bath, washed cake from hair, dressed her in soft pajamas. "You're 1 year old," Claire said. "You survived your first year. We both did." Grace babbled something that might have been words or might have been sounds. "I think that means you're proud of us," Claire said. She rocked Grace to sleep, singing lullabies her own mother had sung, connecting generations, building tradition. When Grace was asleep in her crib, Claire stood in the doorway watching her daughter breathe. 1 year ago, she was 7 months pregnant and someone set her on fire. 1 year ago, her marriage exploded. 1 year ago, she thought her life was over. But here she was, alive, healing, stronger than she ever imagined possible. Her phone buzzed, an email from the agent. "Publishers are interested. 3 offers already, one from a major house with a significant advance. They want you to be the face of a new empowerment series. Call me tomorrow to discuss." Claire stared at the email. This was real. Her story would be published, would help people, would mean something beyond just her personal pain. She called Emma. "I think I'm going to be an author," Claire said. "You already are," Emma said. "You just didn't believe it yet." That night, Claire sat at her kitchen table with tea, looking at the life she'd built. The apartment Robert had given her, now filled with Grace's toys and Claire's books and evidence of their life together. The scars on her back and legs from the burns, fading but permanent, physical reminders of survival. The divorce papers, finalized 3 months ago. The trust fund for Grace, secured by Robert. Financial security regardless of what came next. The support system she'd built, not family by blood, but family by choice. The manuscript that would become a book. Her voice in the world. The small consulting business she'd started, working from home, helping other businesses while being present for Grace. All of it. The whole messy, beautiful, reconstructed life. She'd lost the marriage, lost the illusion of security that came with a partner, lost the version of herself who believed love conquered all and ignored red flags because the truth was too scary. But she'd gained herself. Real, authentic, unfiltered herself. She'd gained wisdom earned through pain. She'd gained a daughter who would grow up knowing her mother was strong enough to survive anything. She'd gained a voice that could help others. The doorbell rang at 9, late for visitors. Claire checked the peephole. Marcus, Emma's husband. She opened the door. "Everything okay?" "Emma wanted me to bring these by," Marcus said, handing her a folder. "Said you'd want them for the book." Inside were Bridget's photographs, not just the fire, but the aftermath. Claire in the hospital. Claire holding newborn Grace. Claire at the park with Grace at 6 months. Claire smiling, really smiling, at Grace's first birthday party. The arc of survival documented in images. "Thank you," Claire whispered. After Marcus left, Claire spread the photos on her table. The fire, the pain, the recovery, the what the 1 year, 12 months, 365 days from burning to thriving. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. "Hello? Mrs. Mitchell, this is Dr. Sarah Chen from Women's Crisis Center. You were referred to us after your incident. I'm calling because we're hosting a fundraising gala next month. We'd be honored if you'd speak. Share your story, inspire others." "I don't know if I'm ready for that," Claire said. "Think about it," Dr. Chen said. "You don't have to decide now, but Claire, women like you who survive publicly, who share honestly, you save lives. You give hope. That's powerful." After hanging up, Claire looked at her daughter's monitor. Grace sleeping peacefully, unaware that her mother was becoming someone new, someone who spoke up, who helped others, who transformed trauma into purpose. Claire started writing the speech in her head. A year ago, someone set me on fire. Someone who claimed to love my husband. Someone my husband manipulated into believing I was the enemy. A year ago, I was 7 months pregnant, burned, traumatized, discovering that my marriage was based on lies and my pregnancy was called strategy. A year ago, I thought my life was ending. But I was wrong. My old life was ending. My new life was beginning. I'm not going to tell you healing is easy, or linear, or complete. I still have nightmares. I still smell gasoline sometimes when there isn't any. I still have moments of crushing doubt, but I also have moments of joy, of pride, of purpose. I have a daughter who will grow up knowing her mother survived, who will learn that strength looks like asking for help, who will understand that leaving is possible, even when it's terrifying. I have a voice, and I'm using it, to tell you if you're in danger, leave. If you're being manipulated, trust your instincts. If you're scared, reach out. If you need help, ask. Because survival isn't just about living through something. It's about building a life worth surviving for. And I'm building that life every day, one choice at a time. You can too. Claire saved the draft. She'd work on it, polish it, make it better. But the core was there. Truth, hope, strength earned through pain. She checked on Grace one more time before bed. Her daughter slept peacefully, one small fist curled near her face. We did it, Claire whispered. We made it through the fire. And now we get to build whatever comes next. Together. Grace made a small sound in her sleep. Content, safe, loved. Claire smiled, the kind of smile that had become her default now. Real, earned, genuine. The smell hit Claire first. But this time, it wasn't gasoline, it wasn't fear. It was Grace's baby lotion, lavender and chamomile, the scent of their bedtime routine, the smell of safety and home and new beginnings. Claire closed the nursery door softly and went to her own room. She had work to do tomorrow, the book to finalize, the speech to write, a consulting client meeting, Grace's pediatrician appointment. Life. Normal, busy, beautiful life. The kind of life she'd built from ashes. The kind of life worth surviving for. Outside her window, the city lights twinkled. Millions of people living their lives. Some happy, some struggling. Some, like Claire had been, trapped in situations they didn't know how to escape. For those people, Claire would speak, would write, would share, because her survival wasn't just about her anymore. It was about showing what was possible, what came after the burning, what emerged from the ashes. Not revenge, not bitterness, not destruction, but transformation, growth, unexpected joy. Claire had been set on fire, but she hadn't burned. She'd forged into something stronger. And tomorrow she'd wake up and keep building. For herself, for her daughter, for every woman who needed to see that survival was possible. That starting over wasn't failure. It was freedom. That the best revenge wasn't destroying the person who hurt you. It was living well despite them. Claire turned off her light and fell asleep easily, dreamlessly, at peace with who she'd been, who she'd become, who she was still becoming. The fire had changed her, but it hadn't defeated her. Nothing ever would again. If Claire's story resonated with you, if it made you feel something, do me a favor. Hit that like button so others can find this story too. Drop a comment and tell me what you thought. Did the ending surprise you? Would you have made the same choices Claire did? I read every single comment, and your stories matter. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who needs to know that survival is possible. That starting over isn't failure, it's courage. And if you want more true stories about strength, resilience, and transformation, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because Claire's not the only one who survived the impossible. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here.